Damn, 1400 on a stock motor. That's impressive.
Yeah. So we would say it was probably making around 2100.
And how much boost?
All of it.
That's 100? We're at 2000 horsepower. It's time to turn it up.
We get a set of rods that are made to hold 4000 horsepower, probably in a gold box or something.
I know, in 2002. I interrupt your video because so many of you wanted these Pennzoil shirts. We're gonna do them. We're gonna do 3 days of pre-sale where you get to pick what picture is on here out of 10 different photos. And during that time, if you place an order, you'll get that. After, you'll get stuck with whatever one I decide the best. So make sure you get into the pre-order to get a special one of your liking, and then we're just gonna sell the regular ones after that. So there's some Pennzoil Toge shirts. There's one that looks like to be Seattle, and then another one at Utah. Then there's a Long Beach wall ride, Atlanta dirt drop, looks like St. Louis going up on the bank at the finish line. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but big three-wheeling, St. Louis infield, Atlanta leaving the keyhole. I'm not sure exactly what track that is, maybe Long Beach. And that's your 10 selections. We are here at Titan Motorsports. They are one of the biggest distributors of all sorts of horsepower and parts. They build some of the baddest shit on the internet and in the world. And they went 9s in like 2000. In a manually shifted radial Supra. Yep. So they've been in the game for a long time. So if that means anything to you, then you definitely want to sit here and watch. I got Nero and Wes. They're gonna walk us through and check out some of these cars in the shop.
This thing is awesome. I mean, this
is pretty cool.
This is
You want to see it? You want to see the engine bay?
I do.
You have to give me some minutes.
Yeah, he's busy right now.
He's using the lift.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll come back to this.
I hate.
There's actually things going on in the shop right now because you know.
I mean, full disclosure, I still think this is one of the ugliest cars that BMW's ever made. I'm an old school BMW guy.
It's mainly the front bumper.
I've owned clown shoes. You know,
it's mainly the front end.
I understand, you know.
But we made it look better with the Vorsteiner stuff.
It is better. It is better.
Significant improvement.
Yeah.
But the driving.
That's not saying much.
The thing is, the car is massive. I mean,
yeah, it's huge.
This M3 is as big as the prior generation M5.
Yeah. And then if you keep going back, that's how it works.
Yeah, no, but the performance of the thing's pretty awesome. Yeah. When we got it, we were hesitant obviously because of looks, and it's crazy. I mean, they sell well, but it's an ugly car. But when you get in it and drive it, it drives great. And
this all-wheel drive one?
Yeah, this is all-wheel drive, so we bought that obviously intentions of straight line performance. And we've had it for about a year now, and R&D's catching up with it. It makes, so far, stock turbos, piston and rod engine, built trans. Yesterday the dyno it made 970 all-wheel horsepower.
Yeah. Wow, that's sick.
And
that's a lot of power.
It's when you see under the engine bay, it looks
stock.
It looks
stock
replacement
looking,
turbos.
Yeah, stock replacement turbos.
Yeah, hybrids.
Hybrids. And I mean, it looks stock, and I mean, it's the drivability is still gonna be there. It's pretty incredible what this thing is gonna do. You know, once it's all uncorked, and there's nothing saying that you can't use it for the other purposes that it was good for. I'm sure, you know, around a road course, this thing's still gonna be awesome. Really good. On the straights with 1,000 horsepower, it should be really fun.
1,000 horsepower is a built engine?
Yeah, built engine, garage, engine
stock
programs really just started. Yeah, stock cams.
Okay.
There's new cams that are just now starting to come out.
Got it.
So that motor that you're in,
that's a bit trickier with that.
That motor behind us, that one's gonna get cams and
a full build.
Full build.
Are you guys
next level engine?
Are you guys doing all DI or port injection?
This one has port injection.
Both.
We partner with CSF on the cooling solution.
Okay, sweet.
So you'll see when Zach drops it down. But beyond, you know, your typical carbon fiber stuff, even Turi intake, the CSF manifold, you wouldn't look at this and go, oh, this is making 1,000 wheels, but
I like the paint match cooler there. CSF.
And then we have nitrous on top of that, so.
I was looking at this.
Obviously, you can see like everything looks relatively stock, other than the carbon and the paint matched intake.
Right.
You know, if we did the intake in just black and
it would look
carbon,
pretty stock.
You could be like, it looks dead stock.
And it's 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah. But the goal, I mean, it's not ethanol, but the goal is this is a 4-door car that, in theory, should be an 8-second street car.
Yeah,
you
with
take
4
your kid to
people
school and ride 4 people. You know, so.
These only came in DCT, right? Or did they come manual?
They came in manual.
Okay.
They came in manual.
The DCT is the way to go.
It's a ZF trans, so it's really an automatic.
8-speed then.
Yeah.
So that's an 8 HP, whatever, 110 or 100 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever number they decided to put.
Yeah, just it's more torque holding, right? That's pretty much all it is. And that's a stock trans at 1,000 horsepower.
This is built pure transmission.
Pure trans. Okay, yeah.
The Supra came first,
right?
And obviously the new Supra came out and had a lot of time with BMW, so a lot of our suppliers were like, hey, you guys are known for this, can you get on board and start developing product for it? So
it makes sense.
We jumped into it with our A90 drag car.
And there's some crossover, obviously.
Yeah, but there's some crossover, and then we went S58.
Yeah.
So it was like the next logical step. We did really well with B58 parts. We keep a lot of stuff on stock.
The B58 is a really good motor. I'm waiting for that to catch on more for swaps and stuff. I think the DI is a tricky part.
The DI is a tricky part.
But now all the ECUs are making DI. The companies are making DI stuff.
So as the electronics companies catch up with it, these engines are really, potent for what they are.
Yeah.
Well, plus
and the response.
Plus, the rumors are the S58, maybe in the 2025 Supra will come out.
Okay.
So then, it's kind of good for us to have a leg up on.
Yeah, it's
on
like
the
a test mule.
Yeah, moving it because if they start they're putting this motor in. The M2, M3, M4. They start putting the Supra.
Yeah, big SKUs, lots of different parts.
Lots of different.
And each has their own intricacies, but if we carry a number of engines, the Supra wasn't a manual when it came out. Now it's a manual, so with each iteration, there's kind of more time for us to do more of this stuff. So
yeah, it's cool. So we got R8. Okay. Some big exchangers on there, big turbos. So what are those?
Those are twin G35s.
900s?
I think 1050s.
1050s, okay.
It's AMS. They're a twin turbo kit.
Okay.
So this is Ronald's car. He'll race it at Texas 2K or Florida 2K.
Stock transmission mount. See? That's wild.
So it's fully built. I mean, it's gone. I think he's gone an 850 with it, in the 850s.
How much power does it have?
It's made 1,200 on the dyno.
Nice.
He's getting it ready to turn up, so I think he's going for 1,400. He's like, so next iteration we're changing a couple of things. Going to go on the mainline dyno here soon.
Nice.
Hopefully like late next week.
Carbon brakes.
Yep.
So yeah, you pull the bumper off. It's very serviceable. That's kind of neat. You guys are probably pros at taking bumpers off of these things by now. Yeah. You gotta do it to do anything. Pretty much. Oh, wastegate line, I gotta
turbos and the rear bumper and the turbo kit, pretty much, if you're gonna do anything heavy, it has to come off.
Yeah, I see that.
Because everything comes obviously backwards, right?
That's a massive engine compartment.
Fairly easy.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
I literally just put it on as you were talking.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah. That's what I was looking at, how the V-bands and then basically undo the couplers and...
This is actually a stock motor, so...
Okay.
It's a dead stock...
1,400 on a stock motor, that's
motor.
impressive.
Yeah. So...
Holy shit,
the white one we have over here, we beat the living heck out of it. We were at the track all the time. That's Omar's car. And this is when that was like the infancy of the V10 stuff, and the car was going 8.0s, 8.1s constantly. Stock motor.
Stock engine.
And I was like, we need to pull the motor out. It's obviously not made to handle this. When we took it apart, everything looked brand new. Like, everything looked good. The rods weren't bad.
Bearings were good.
Pins dropped right out. Bearings were good. We were like, why did we take this thing apart?
Yeah.
We wanted to take it apart because I was like, if it breaks a rod, I mean, it's going to be a whole motor. It gets expensive. So, you can start an engine fire.
Right.
But then also, you literally are buying a whole new motor.
Yep.
$30,000 motor.
Instead of just getting pistons and rods.
And these cores are harder to find. This is
I imagine.
As you get into this, you can get them, but going to your Audi dealer and just saying, hey, I need a complete long block for this.
What's that cost? 40 grand?
And up on some of them.
Audi, yeah. I mean, a junkyard motor, you're going to spend 25 or 30,000 for a wrecked car. So that's why we were like, let's pull the motor out and build it before.
Yeah, before it happens.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, well, it's still a good.
Then we
core.
took it apart and we're like, wow, these things like really can handle the power. Where the old Gallardos, they broke rods factory.
Yeah.
Like naturally acerated.
I remember people being like 650, 700 foot-pounds is it.
Now they've overbuilt them. They've gone the complete opposite direction.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah. So that's why they mod so well.
So then the white one we're getting a little bit crazier with. It's It's kind of a packaging nightmare.
8385s.
8385s.
Big one.
This is fun. So we got
you made it.
Oh yeah, cut a pipe down the middle.
Well, no, but this was, we 3D scanned the tip
Okay.
to figure out how we were going to get out. And then we actually built, you know, an inlet that's going to fit exactly in there.
Yep.
And then we'll trim
At
it
a
to
tie.
fit at a tie. But it's 2.5, the taper's to 2. And we built a fixture to kind of hold it.
It's cool.
And, you know, we calculate surface area. This is 2 4.5-inch exhausts on the tip side. So then we'll merge this back into pie cuts. So
Got it.
it's still going to look stock appearing when it's done, but
That's cool.
a lot of time and effort goes
I know,
into
we did a similar exhaust on our car and we ended up having to drill like 1/2-inch holes through it every like 10 inches and weld braces in there.
Yeah.
But that was closer to the motor itself, so
Yeah.
the pressure was a lot higher.
So,
That's cool. Fun stuff.
but there's really no other way to get the exhaust out the car.
He's worried about it looking stock, but it's got bead locks on it.
But I mean, you don't want
Look
to.
at the bead lock. Like,
Jeez.
yeah.
I mean, you
You
don't
gotta
want
have the stock looking exhaust tip.
You don't want to cut. You don't want to cut this up and just have it hanging out.
No,
or,
I know,
Or
I know.
you know, cut holes in here and run it straight out. I mean, some
Yeah.
people do that, but
So does your parachute mount have a license plate mount on it?
No, well, you can. There isn't an,
We do have an
there
option
is an
for it.
option
Okay,
for
okay.
one. Yeah,
Perfect.
that's assuming you know you're having a street legal car, right?
Yeah.
Because you're only supposed to drive these cars
License plate says pins in, dude.
at the track. Like a lot of these cars you see here are all track only.
Oh yeah, those are big.
Dang.
Oh, right into the X, too.
yeah.
Okay. The sound will be good.
So yeah, this was
All Taycan, too.
This is all
Sick.
Taycan.
All Taycan.
Our boys at Taycan's been overnighting
Yeah, they really.
a few,
I'll make sure
a few
I-
extra times. You know, I got to shout out to them.
Justin be staying busy for you guys
Justin,
over there?
Keen.
Yep.
When they're not vacationing, they're overnighting us parts.
Right.
But
That's
yeah,
good. I just got a huge shipment from Taycan, too, so their stuff is awesome.
But yeah, I mean, we had a model on the CAD just to kind of see if we could do it in the amount of space that we had, and
Yeah, it's tight.
it's gonna work out. It's a lot of stuff in a small amount of room there. So
Yeah, the wastegates have good flow there, too. Straight in from the exhaust manifold.
yep. So that'll tie it back in the exhaust, and then turbos and intercoolers next once he gets the exhaust on.
No, those intake manifolds are sick, too. That's cool. Yeah, the stacks inside look nice. Who makes the intake manifolds?
AMS.
AMS, okay.
Yeah, you can see it from down here.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mala filters. All the goodies. Dang, this is gonna make some jam, huh?
That's the plan.
Carbon
That's why we had to have the stock exhaust tips.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm saying, like, those turbos don't even get into their efficiency till like 650, 700 a piece, so you're gonna make at least 1,500.
We're thinking
2,000.
We're thinking once it gets to about 6,500 RPM, it's game on.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
All the way up to 10,000 plus.
Yeah, that's cool. How often do you guys do customer stuff?
You know, we cut back on it quite a bit because, you know, we want to do a lot more R&D for a lot of our vendors and do a lot of our own cars. So like even these two R8s, they're like basically like shop cars. We're really good friends.
Yeah.
You know, that go to the drag strip constantly as much as possible. So we'll take on the occasional job, but it's got to be, you know, the right job.
Yeah, you gotta be stoked.
And we got to, well, and we have to have like the time to do it. you
Yeah.
know? So like quite often,
This place looks packed full of stuff right now.
we haven't
so.
taken on really hardly any jobs in the last 14 or 15 months.
Okay.
Because we were just that far backlogged. Because a lot of them, even though you see all these cars, you know, a lot of what the staff that works on these cars do is work on stuff that's for mail order.
Yeah.
You know, if we're putting an engine package together, shipping it complete where
building it up.
they can drop it in the car.
Yeah, I got it.
That's what they're doing. So they're not always have even time to work on customer cars.
What's this thing?
I don't know. We're gonna have to decide what we're doing with it. What do
Okay.
you think we should do with it?
I don't know. I know this much about drag racing. Very little. I know there's a tree involved, and you go eighth, quarter, or now everybody goes mile. That's pretty much about it. And there's roll racing and no prep too.
There's a little. It's not announced yet. You're getting a sneak peek.
Okay, all right.
You're getting a sneak
It
peek.
looks like a serious chassis.
We literally took the whole car apart before you got here, so you wouldn't be able to figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, just for you.
Look for notes or little pieces of paper for build lists.
Yeah,
Strange column setup.
This is a full Pro Mod chassis.
Yeah.
So obviously these aren't built as imports. They're primarily built as domestics. So
Yeah, so this will
First
have
step for us is tear all the domestic drag race stuff out of it.
What are you doing with a bunch of solid axle stuff over here, dude?
It's a full solid axle drag car.
Right.
So
got the fuel cell.
from here, we stripped it down. It's gonna go get rebodied, and then we'll put one of our full race 2J setups in and complete the build from there. But this,
I like this little bar on here.
that's your anti-roll bar.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
They don't use them for the anti-roll factor of it, though.
No, so this should be
cool. A ride height sensor.
We're hoping this will be a mid 5-second car at 200 and
change
60, 70 something. The Bogos is plan.
Put an R8 motor in it.
This is the talks of somebody doing.
Cool.
There's the talks of somebody doing that. This is a car we're known for.
Yeah, this is the one.
We recently retired it, so
Not officially retired.
it's likely to be retired. So right now we're kind of getting it ready for its retirement.
Get it ready for the car show circuit.
That's right.
We're joining your new car show series.
That's right. That's it. The Denofa Express car show.
Yeah. So this will.
Got some weights up
I mean,
here.
if you're not going to race, we might as well join you.
That's right. We'll all just hang out, race scooters
Talk
around.
about how we used to do it back in the day.
Right. Lawn chairs.
Yep.
Jimmy Buffett playing.
Yep. Once Cars and Coffee's over, boom, 11 o'clock, back home for house chores.
That's right. Well, I need to go get my championship race car chassis and keep that.
It's
So I
pretty
have
wild.
this too.
This chassis.
You should.
This has been through some shit.
This is 24 years of running competitive.
I know.
When you go back in the showroom, you see all the trophies. Like it's pretty
This
wild
is
to
a
see that
serious car.
This car, the history. I don't know if there's an import in any racing series that has the amount of history that this particular car has.
Yeah, there were cars back then, but they didn't race for as long as this thing
so
did. It's cool.
I mean,
This strut relocation is pretty wild.
Yep. For
I was looking at that.
X275,
yeah,
utilize the factory location.
Yeah. Utilizes the factory location.
we built it.
It does use the factory home.
It's more factory location than any of the other cars. That's funny.
People think this is a full race car. It is a full race car, but I mean, this
full
is
unibody.
It still has steel quarters.
It's still got steel roof, steel quarters.
I mean, it's lightweight, but it's
got pretty much as much as the original Firewall. When we were racing it, it was 29.
Okay.
You know, we could get it down to 28, taking a lot of lead out of it, but
yeah. But you need it for.
It still wasn't. Well, the rules for X275 at a certain time were 29 and then 29, 25.
Okay.
So we have.
That's
you
with
can
driver.
see there was a little bit of weight. That's with driver. Yeah, with driver. But we could probably run it at about 2,800.
And its peak power when it was running all the time was like how much?
You know, we never dynoed it, but you know, when we were running X275 trim, we had to run an 88mm turbo.
Got it.
So we would say it was probably making around 2,100.
And how much boost? 60 pounds?
All of it.
Yeah.
Whatever it would make.
The gate closes up top.
It would probably make like 60, 62 is all of it, because it was honestly a smaller turbo.
Yeah.
Like on the big pro stuff, like the Natty racing car, the big pro imports, they run 110 millimeter turbo. You'll make over 100 pounds of boost with it.
Yep. Yeah, the 88 just can't flow enough.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, it's a class restricted turbo size, so they're obviously trying to restrict the amount of power you can make.
For sure. That's what makes it fun, though. That's how you find
look like even this, the rules said, you know, stock shock mount, stock subframe mounting location. So I mean, everything's been built to accept factory mounting locations.
Yeah.
So
the sheet factory
from the
metal,
shock tower forward,
all of it. I mean, you can see that, like, not only are those the factory quarters, all the metal that goes on the inside of it. So all the factory plastic still bolt into here.
This is a low 6-second car.
I like the little cap for the shock mounts, little carbon.
I mean,
there.
even the quarter glass, that's factory quarter glass.
Yep. That's cool.
So,
well, you had to weigh 29, 25 anyway, so
well,
you might as well keep some class in it.
When we first built the car for the initial NHRA rules in was like 2001, you weren't supposed to cut any part of the car out, right? You're supposed to keep all the factory sheet metal. So we literally have always followed through with, we don't want to really cut the car up. We want it to be as original as possible. Obviously, over the years, you've got to, you know, build the cage around it, you know, run the cage off through the floor and so forth. But that's why we literally still leave all the original. Yeah, like by the rules now, all this stuff on the inside we could literally cut out. Yeah, but we just didn't. We didn't want to do it. We wanted to cut the absolute minimal we had to be able to make the car still kind of stay with the history that it was, where it was originally built for, and yet still be competitive.
Serious scatter shield there. I know. You know your shit's scatter shield when you got ARP bolts on your on your bell housing adapter.
I mean, that's the one thing with drag racing is, you know, if a flywheel or ring gear comes apart, you don't obviously want to hurt the driver. So
yeah, oh yeah.
The whole point is
this is wild.
Contain.
So it only works one way, the engagement.
Yep.
So they ramp one side. Normally, like in our drift boxes, it would be on both sides, but this is just so it goes in really easy, and while you're on throttle, and then when you lift off, it probably just pops out of gear, basically. That's cool. Yeah, this car's got a lot of history. Like I said, this car was on pretty much in every tire shop, every performance shop you went. This car was like on the wall with the BFG.
I have one in there, so you'll go to check it out.
That's cool. With that crazy, they were the first people to really do like a crazy looking tire too.
And the fun part about rules is you spend all this time and money making stuff for that titanium. You can then bolt lead on
right back on it.
You make it light and then you deal with
track jack setup's cool too.
Those are a must.
Yeah.
When you're working on the car.
Yeah, you build it as light as you can. You put the weight back where you want to, you know.
And this is kind of the parts. This is these two areas here for the race team.
Yep.
And then from here back is in-house fabrication. So.
Here's another car we're doing. It's kind of supposed to be very similar to like what our Copper Supra is for a customer, Josh, in Tennessee. And
how do you like these gates?
We haven't really spent a lot of time with them, but
I haven't yet either.
We're gonna kind of find out. I mean, from what everybody tells us, they like them. You know, as long as your ECU has good protocols to be able to obviously control them.
Yeah, for sure. And what ECU are you running this?
Fuel Tech.
Fuel Tech.
So we're wiring
Billet
this car.
2JZ, no shit, bro. Forward-facing turbo. Oh, step turbo manifold too. Interesting. It's cool. This is gonna make some jam, huh?
Yeah. So this is gonna be similar. I mean, he's gonna run this more in 1/8 mile, but yeah, he basically wants something similar to this to run maybe 480s. 490s in the 8th, which is most of what he'll do. He'll do your Texas 2K, Florida 2K, those kind of events.
Notice they run the gate on the charge side of things, not on the exhaust side of things.
He's been building it for a while, so...
What's the reason for that? Just to keep the turbo spun at 200,000 RPM the whole time?
That is part of it, yeah. And honestly, like launch boost control, right? If you overshoot, you're able to let that air out.
Makes sense.
And keep it under control, but yes, at the same time leaving the turbo spinning. Yeah. If you pull the turbo down too much, you let go of the trans brake, and then suddenly, like, you know, the car just falls on its face. Yeah.
Makes sense. How much RPM? All the RPM.
Huge.
Yeah, it's a big boy. That's 100?
This is actually a 98.
98?
They all have the same...
My bad, I was off by 2 millimeters.
They all have the same framework, though. Yeah. So you could be like, it's 100, 102.
It's wild because we have to get used to this, because every car, I mean, there's giant and bigger giants.
Yeah,
so it's like, on those you'll see a 110, now we're starting to see 112s, 115s come to discussion.
Where does this light off, like when you're leaving the line? Like, are you at 6,500?
Yeah, usually about 6.
6 grand?
6, yeah, I mean...
And that'll be leaving at 30 or 40 pounds of boost or something?
30, probably mid-30s. I mean, you know...
Maybe I do know stuff about drag racing.
You know enough. You know enough to get into trouble.
I do. A lot of trouble.
I mean, obviously some of that's all depending on the car setup, right? The tire, you know, the track setup, the gear ratios, but yeah, like, you're pretty on point.
That's cool. So yeah, similar build on this, like leaving a lot of the unibody, leaving a lot of the interior panels. It's kind of a trademark you guys have, I guess. Cool. Vertical bottle with different siphon too, I'm sure, for the nitrous. It's cool. It's 23 years old, this seat.
It's really
Shit's
old.
been around, dude.
You see?
That seat's won some trophies right there. That's cool. Look at the size of these injectors. Holy shit. What fuel is this run?
It's Fuel Tech, so this will run M1.
M1?
Methanol.
So shitloads of fuel. Those are what, like 3,000 cc or something?
So the Fuel Tech injectors will be 3,000 cc's, like 3,200s on the primaries, 5,500s on the secondaries.
5,500, holy shnikes.
So, I mean, obviously gives us a little bit of headroom. Like, we're building the car, so if he decides, hey, I want to put the 110 on it,
you can do it.
We can do the 110 on it, right? And you know, everybody's like, nah, I'll be good here. And within 6 months, he'll be like, hey, Nero, order that new turbo.
And this will make what, like 23 or 2400?
So the combination we're building it for, the motor, means good to about 3,000.
Okay.
Like with the 98, he'll try to be running right around that 2,100, 2,000 power, horsepower range. But you know how, like I said, how it goes. Like all of a sudden,
yeah, it's time to turn up.
It's time to turn it up. Well, shit, now I'm out of turbo.
We're at 2,000 horsepower. It's time to turn it up.
Yeah, it'll be like call precision, get the big boy.
110. That's funny.
Or what really usually happens is, hey Nero, what do you got in the trailer that's bigger than what I got?
And bolt it on, let's go. That's funny. That's cool. Are these magnesium? Or are those just aluminum, the color of them?
It's color.
Yeah. Cool. SFI wheels. Yep. That's how you know you're doing things. You got roll bar jigs over here? Is that what all those are?
Yeah, so we got a couple cool things. We do a lot of bolt-in roll bars for street cars. Porsche being a big one.
Headphone users beware.
Will you pause for like 5 minutes? So every single car we'll build for the car, and then we build a jig so that way the fitment's insured every single time. So we build these jigs both to hold the shape and ensure that every single bar is exactly the same and it's going to fit the car. So if somebody calls after and says it doesn't fit my car, normally it's either not been installed correctly or the car's been in an accident.
That's what I was going to say. You need to have some sort of like movement there a little bit because the people.
So we do build that in, but we know if it's, you know, normally they'll call us, say, oh, then we give them some tips, and then the next day you don't hear from them again.
You just ask them for the VIN and you Carfax it. And you're like, hey, I know what your problem is, and they're real bummed about it.
When do they insist it doesn't fit? And they're like, the car's mint and it's never been wrecked. That's never a good conversation.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, there's a good chance that it's been wrecked and you don't know about it.
Right, Carfax don't know about it.
Yeah, if the strut towers don't line up, yeah,
that's not good.
It's not good.
You got more than a quarter inch of variance on a nice car, you got problems.
But here's one of the bars before it goes to powder.
What's this for?
GTR.
GTR, okay. Cool. I like the.
So this uses like a factory shelf mount on it, obviously because it's a coupe and the way it is. There's a safety anchor point there that's reinforced that we use to tie it in.
Okay.
None of these are NHRA legal per se because they need to be welded in. But when you're dealing with a high horsepower street car, not everyone wants to cut up and drill it. So.
What's the deal with the mounts, the pivots?
So those will actually bolt to like a factory seatbelt location.
Oh, okay.
So again, you could bolt this in the car without cutting, without any modification to the car itself, so it's fully reversible.
Got it.
So some people have for looks. It also holds the harness properly.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Which is a big thing.
Yeah.
And most tracks now are starting to accept these just because they realize that Lamborghini, R8s, GTRs, they're so strong, and these guys don't want to cut them up, but the rule's got to be built for some guy with a 70 Camaro, you know, that wants to.
Of course. So there's a little bit of movement there.
Drifting's
doing the same thing right now too, because like if you got like a new S550 or S650 Mustang, you could take door smashes all day with no cage and it would be fine.
Exactly.
If you have a Fox body, you need the cage.
Exactly. So we build it for niche applications like that.
That's cool. And they're what, 1 3/4?
1 3/4, inch and a half.
120.
Chromoly everything.
Oh,
so I mean, everything we do in house is built out of chromoly, both for weight purposes.
Sick.
Better quality. We could do them out of steel, but you know,
these are 095 or 120.
It depends on the application. The inch and a half will go like 095 or 083. Some applications are different than others, but we keep all the tubing in stock here. It's cut on a Dragon. So all the designs are pretty much built in CAD, and then we actually do the CNC cutting and coping with the plasma there.
Yep.
So that's all automated. That part of the process, and then the bending ties it back into our Bailey bender as well. So it's all in program as well. So quality control, all these key
QC is really good.
Yeah. So.
Plus you can obviously toss it back on the jig too while you're welding and doing all that, so you know what you got.
Exactly. So.
That's cool.
And the next phase, you know, we'll do more with 3D scanning the interiors and building out everything, you know,
the
fully
3D scanner
in
stuff's
CAD.
come a long way. It's really nice.
So that's the next evolution for us. Right now we build the hard way and then backtrack it, but
yeah, it's still good though.
This is what one looks like finished.
Nice. That one's got the X in the back too.
You see, we tag every one of them.
Nice.
You know, so we know like the history of it.
Made in Orlando, Florida.
Yep.
There's somebody welding one right now. Sweet.
So this bar is for A90 Supra. The same difference. Yep, tighter. This one we do bolt in through the floor. Stock locations aren't as plentiful in that application, so that's
going to be like back in the day when you bought like a Camaro or Mustang.
You pull the carpet up.
You pull the carpet up to make sure there's no holes in there.
Exactly. So this application,
lamps here
we did go that method, yeah.
What is that thing?
That is what's called a modula.
What is that?
We will demo it for you. What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
We could fit you in there, but you may not hit the weight capacity.
I don't know what that is. It's like a palleting thing or a packaging thing?
It is. It's a product. It's a vertical. It's a vertical lift system.
How the hell did you get it in here? You built it in here.
They built it in here. I didn't build it in here.
I'm like looking at that. I'm like, you really had to spec this out.
Yeah. So you literally. So it goes all the way. It can go as high as 40 feet. So even if you wanted to cut a hole in the wall or ceiling, you could run it all the way up. So
well, okay. So what's it do?
They built it to spec. You're gonna see. She's gonna do some magic over here.
All the small parts we had fit on these trays, and it stacks them to the height of the product. Oh. So it allows us to take like.
No way.
So if you look, these trays go all in their ceilings. So like most shops where you have issues with, wheel studs would take up crates and crates and crates. So when they get an order and it'll come in, pull the order up on there, they can scan the barcode, and that actually has a laser pointer that's going to show them the location. The part number pulls up, so, so it says, boom, look, there's a wheel stud, shows them where to pick.
See the green light?
Yo.
So that's that bin.
Dude, that is sick.
It pulls all the info.
Maximum efficiency.
And you can see behind it, it'll pull the next tray, and it will just continue to, like, you can just keep pulling and pulling. And obviously you do the same thing to, when you're putting the inventory in the system.
That's insane.
If you look, there is a weight capacity to it. Obviously some parts you're not going to hold thing full of crankshaft, but the weight of the sports is pretty high because you can have ARP and engine holder filling the entire tray.
Like you see that tray is 1,100 pounds. So each one's got a little different weight limit depending on what it is.
That's awesome.
So like here
I've never seen anything like that
Titan
before.
cam gears, boom.
Titan.
Pull the red one. Pull the red one. You got all kinds of kits. So
during the pandemic, it was hard to get space, and this area has turned into like a warehouse district with Amazon nearby. So getting another building was hard. So
this probably holds what, like a whole row.
This will hold literally everything from the gray, all the gray shelves.
Yeah.
That you'll see. So that's the whole point of, hey, maybe we'll get another one, another one, another one.
That's sick.
Yeah. But it also helps you have people, your pick time's a lot shorter, you're not going all the way down there, all the way across. Then at the same time, it's well lit. It keeps your inventory in one place.
Efficient.
Yeah. You can even like all of this is programmable for user IDs. So if I wanted to have like my own tray where I had watches or guns or diamonds or whatever, I could have a tray. I could have a tray just for me. That nobody else could access.
Speaking like a true Porsche owner over here. Watches, diamonds.
That's a Lambo owner.
That's a Lambo owner. Right, you're right.
Same difference.
How many watches you wear at one time?
But you can literally do that. Or
that's awesome.
You can do your high dollar stuff, your Tiltons, clutches, any of that stuff. So where like only a manager can pull it. So yeah,
it's for smaller items. Awesome. Obviously not going to use it for exhaust, but it frees up other portions of the warehouse that then we can.
Well, the smaller stuff is what's a pain in the ass anyway, because you got to have bins for it and like all that little stuff. So that
allowed us to go double decker and double wide here, because all the big stuff kind of goes on this side, and we keep the small side confined to this portion of the warehouse.
So we have a set of rods made.
Compact Lambo, dude.
We have a set of rods that are made to hold 4,000 horsepower on the V10, and then another set that makes that's made to hold 2,500. So we have like a middle and a high-end option for these guys that twin turbo.
What's a set of 4,000 horsepower rods
$4,000 set of rods, I believe, is $8,000.
$8,000, okay. That's fair.
For 10.
Yeah.
For 10. It's 10, so it's 800 a rod.
Okay, that's not
bad. But it's a really cool looking rod, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously for a very specific customer.
And is that like a billet or is it still like a...
It's a steel, let's see, I don't know.
He said it's really cool looking. He's got to show us one at least.
Let's see if this is one of them here.
It's a pizza slice in there.
It is. They package these things really nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Oh, nice.
So that's actually, I think this is a 2,500 horsepower rod.
With the Titan logo on there.
Yep.
Woo! Branding.
Let me see if I got you one of the 4,000 horsepower ones.
What's it take to make 4,000 horsepower on a Lambo? So that's twin 90s.
Twin, yeah, like it's probably going to be. I mean, nobody who's making that tells you they're making that,
right.
But it's probably going to be like twin Pro Mods, like
okay.
so like
yeah.
88 or 88s or probably 94s to be honest, something like that.
That's big. And that motor is a 5 liter or no? What size is that motor?
5.2.
5.2.
Where's the expensive rods?
There you go.
It's probably in a gold box or something.
It comes with a Titan watch. That's all right. They'll hold 4,000 horsepower. You're not worried about that.
Some lube.
There you go. Lube comes in the box.
You're gonna need that lube
that's
after.
Nice. With the little cutbacks there. Save some weight in the non-stressful areas.
Nice.
That's cool.
So this is their custom C107 material. So we can take it out.
So yeah, it's like over 400 horsepower rod right there. Pretty good.
Nice. And you can see it's pretty damn light for.
Oh dang, that is pretty light. What is it made out of?
It's one of their newer materials they started machining called C107.
Okay.
Who knows? It's like some 007.
Yeah.
Level.
C107.
Yeah.
GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Gold watch wearing. Torque holding.
But they're out there already and they work, so it's pretty wild.
You can't even measure 4,000 horsepower really.
You got to use a.
So you got to mathematically figure it out.
No, you've got to use a mainline dyno. If you want to dyno it, you either mathematically figure it out on the track, or you use a mainline dyno.
Yeah, and then it probably makes another 250, 300 horsepower to the track anyway.
Yeah. I mean, most people, like you said, are not really turning it up, until they hit the track.
Right.
But that's exactly the point.
Yeah, I'm happy when I break 200 on a main line.
I mean, obviously, it's there's a need for it.
Yeah, of course. So you gotta have it.
So you have to have it.
That's right.
But people don't know us for all the distribution that we really do.
Right.
Hondas, Mitsubishis. We do a lot of stuff outside of obviously the Toyota spectrum.
Yeah.
Toyota spectrum. Obviously that's what we specialized in and have known forever and really started with.
When did you start Titan?
Started in 99.
99. That's what I was saying. I said I think last in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I've seen some magazines and some BFG shoots and stuff back in the day that were like very early 2000s.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. And
we had the BFG poster.
Yep. That was in every store. That was like the most popular poster I think in the game for any sort of import tuning back then.
It timed out exactly with the Fast and Furious release. I mean, we just started racing right then, and the car was actually black. So BFG wanted us to paint the car so it popped better in the poster. So we had to pick a color.
And then you owned the color.
So then we had, well, it went back to like, Japanese tuners at the time we looked up to, Top Secret. They had Top Secret Gold, and June was big, and they all had these schemes.
The yellow and green.
The yellow and the green. Stuff. So we said, you know what, we're kind of going to continue. Let's pick a color. So we found a color we liked that was, kind of tied in the brightness, and then just made it ours. And
yeah, it's cool.
Mix it up, and for a long time, only our cars were that color, and now we've kind of switched up. We don't do it as often as we used to, but the color's still iconic to us. Yeah,
and you guys were going 9s like 25 years ago.
Yeah, with a manual on drag radials, and now we're doing that in street cars.
I know, that's crazy, with AC. That's wild.
Pistons, I mean, here's a good example of like having different, this is like, I mean, so if you look here, if you just go there, we got 4G63, RB25, RB26, SR, so I mean literally the sky's the limit in terms of what we have pistons in stock for, and you see there's multiples of them, so.
Yeah, it's cool.
2J of course, 3S GTE, so I mean if you...
I just got an Evo 5, so maybe I'll have to hit you up with that.
Apparently
they're finally legal now over here, so I figured I'd grab
we probably
one.
have it.
There's one right there. That's
Even,
there
you go.
I mean,
how much money did you bring with you?
Literally every Evo you look here.
I'm probably
not enough.
I'm probably not gonna do a built motor and just do like an Evo 9 turbo and like 400 horsepower.
What are you talking about? How are you gonna say you're not gonna build
because
a
it's
motor?
Just street fun, simple. I might have to build a motor because the Mitsubishi is 25 years old.
That's how it starts. That's how he said he was just gonna get into drifting. It's fun. Nero, give me a good deal. I need an F350 to tow my car.
Yeah, he just told me his F350.
I'm doing the amateur series now. I'm Mr. Champion, right?
Yeah, things escalate quickly.
Yeah, you see, I told you that's what would happen.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
You're like, oh, we're gonna make some Supra parts and stuff, and now you have one of these massive order pickers, dude. It's the same thing.
He's like, we're just gonna try this out. I'm gonna see where it takes me. I'm like,
yeah.
He was
dangerous.
He was very motivated back then.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'll move anywhere in the country, go wherever I need to do.
Yeah.
Just put me in a car.
Let's go.
So
let's drive.
Worked out.
As Toyota's discontinued stuff, like we have parts that we've just had forever, and we try and buy what we can when we know it's getting discontinued. So like super turbo OEM emblems, and as these cars now are at the point where they're being restored.
Yeah, you just start adding zeros to that
and
stuff.
No, it gets harder because
you can't even get them.
Some of the stuff we sold, we like, oh, we'll sell, we'll order another one, and then you find a need for it. Like we had for a while, the hardtop roofs. Yeah. We would buy those for our race cars, and we bought like 2 or 3 of the last hardtop roofs, and now they're discontinued. You want to build a new race car, we don't have that anymore.
You gotta either buy it off of a JDM car, cut the roof off, but there's
what's a V160 cost now?
It's
a new one, a brand new one's worth easily 15,000 or more.
And a used one, 12, 10.
Probably like, yeah, 9, 10, 9 grand.
And we bought the last...
I bought a car with one of those, I think, for 7 or 8 grand back in the day.
We bought the last 10 that were available in the U.S., and that was years ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, they were selling for 9 grand, and we thought that was all the money, and then now they're...
That's crazy.
Now you gotta, the thing is, you gotta literally buy it back off of your customer who bought it.
Yeah.
Just in case they ever need one.
Hey, you still got that? I saw you bought this 10 years ago.
Like,
I need it.
And obviously they're all like, yeah, I'll sell it for the right money, but it's like, you know, obviously they're not looking to sell it. They want to still keep it. So it's it's almost an investment.
Yeah.
Portal.
That's cool. That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
So they literally buy it and they're like, I'm just gonna hold on to it. And if you don't pay what they want to pay, they're like, it's fine. I'll just keep it. Somebody will at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it'll get more money.
Yeah.
You know. It's cool.
I mean, you see the speculators. You can see them on even eBay. You'll go and be like, this part is like double the cost because they just post that stuff up there because they're like, somebody may pay it.
Yeah, well, they might need it like now. Yeah. And then that person will sell it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool.
And then a lot of this is our custom, you know, one-off stuff. So C-Prac is for the Mark V. A lot of this area, he'll be...
Yeah, because you guys do a lot of manufacturing your own stuff.
Private label or stuff we manufacture in-house, so kind of got...
Huracan removable parachute mount. Tell me that's not niche market. I love that.
It fits the R8 as well.
No, but it's good because you're like, oh, I got SuperTech valves that fit like a million different cars, but then I also have this that we build, you know. That's cool.
Or ATI damper, you know, we'll do those in partnership with them for applications that we feel a need for.
Yeah, it's good.
So a lot of
that helps a lot because, like, you know, they don't make dampers for everything. And like you guys being able to buy them to be able to sell them to everybody, so someone doesn't have to pay $8,000 for one of them.
So our whole line, so we never wanted to actually make our own stuff. That was never the plan. Yeah. It was just, hey, we'll distribute everybody else's stuff. There's lots of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
All these brands. Well, after a while, you're starting to feel like, okay, I need this part. I need this part. I need this drive shaft.
Yeah, when you need it the third time, you're like, I should probably make
And nobody
this.
else makes it. So, you know, the manufacturer's like, we don't want to make it. We don't see there being a volume or a need for this, and we're like, okay, well, what if we buy enough for you to make it, and then you are like exclusive on it, and you co-partner with somebody. Like ATI doesn't want to make one pulley at a time.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, so if they make 15, 20, or 50, they'll make it for you. Now they don't care what you do with it once it gets to your door, if it sits here or doesn't. And now we've got, you know, the scene could continue to progress forward with parts that they need to actually, you know, make the cars reliable.
Yeah, and we've always been like, if we make a part, it's not just for us. Like when you get exclusivity, a lot of people get exclusivity so they can hoard stuff and give the stuff. For us, it's
or rebrand it for their own stuff.
But it's always to sell it. Like, you know, we've always said, if you need a Race 2 JZ, we'll pull the one out of our car and sell it to you. I mean, there's no secret to us, or it's exclusive only to buy it from us. It's, you know, for the benefit of the community, we have the recipe to do it.
Yeah, it's cool.
And we want to make it so it's available. It's sitting here, ready for you to order and go.
Well, that makes sense from a business model too, because then everybody knows where to go to get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the '90s anymore where you don't pop your hood and show people what you have.
Exactly. We have engines in stock as well. Obviously, this is not.
This is a used engine.
Yeah, dude. The problem is that's $3 grand right there now.
That's a core going back to get built.
Yep.
But
we have a bunch of edges.
Can you still buy them brand new or no?
They come in waves.
You can buy blocks.
Okay.
You can still buy blocks.
Short block or just blank?
Short blocks you can still order.
Okay.
But it almost doesn't make sense because of what they're charging. So it's almost better to buy just a block and then put new crank rods and pistons in it.
Already had ARPs in that guy.
Yeah,
too.
it's got pistons,
Pistons
in it.
too. Yeah.
So they'll stop producing for a while on waves, and cylinder head, same thing. Sometimes they get discontinued, and then they'll come back. So there'll be times where we've got a bunch of heads.
Just so they can double the price again.
Yeah, but sometimes we have seen, because we move enough, and we've seen changes in the foundries that produce and the casting. Like we've seen casting flaws because they ran out and went to another foundry.
Or better.
That most people that don't see.
The new heads are completely different than the original production heads.
Got it.
Like
the porting's all the same and stuff?
The porting is almost exactly the same. Everything obviously bolts up, cams, but the material, you can see the coloring is a little bit different, and the actual casting itself is a little different. Like certain areas, it's more shallow, or it's not as thick.
Got it.
In certain areas. It's definitely made in a different
foundry
plant, or it's made with a different mold. You know, so like Toyota stopped making that head for about 2 years, so they probably had to retool up.
Yeah, that's probably why they stopped making it.
Which we did try and get them to do the V160, truthfully.
Yeah.
We inquired about it.
You're like, I'll take 100 of them.
But Getrag had been bought and sold by numerous big conglomerates, so it wasn't just Toyota's getting a hold of them. The tooling had timed out, so it was trying to get all the tooling remade through Toyota, through Getrag that had then been sold.
And then still, even if you make new gears and do all that, you still got to get the cases somehow.
Well, we wanted them to remake the transmissions. They were selling full transmissions in the box.
Got it.
If we could get these transmissions to the customers for $5,000 a piece, dude, it'd be an awesome transmission to have. So I was like, how much is it going to cost?
Somebody would pay $7,500
to redo the tooling.
For it.
What's it going to cost to redo the retooling and make these? And they were like, it's going to be well over $1 million. So it's going to be like at least $1.5 million.
That's a big investment.
You'd probably have to get.
And there are other gearboxes available now, so it's kind of.
So that was the problem. Like if it was something that was cost effective, where we could say, hey, we could make our money back in 100 transmissions. Yeah. I'm like, that'd be a transmission.
But that's a 10-year game right there. Yeah. To get your money back.
You know, but a lot of the stuff that we do it's I hate to say it's not all for business. It's literally because you want to have a signature piece. You want people obviously know the Titan brand, but you also want to be able to like get this stuff to consumers so they can have fun with it.
Right.
Like the biggest thing I tell all the guys in the office, there's a lot of stuff we compete against, not just other shops. Like you got people who could be buying boats, going on vacation, on vacations, jet skis. I mean, there's so many places now where you can have fun and spend your money.
Yep.
So if we don't make it super easy and super fun for the customer, they're gonna go. They're just gonna be like, okay,
do something else.
Go do something else.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's where the recipe comes into play.
You probably see that drifting as well, where a lot of people have as much fun on their missile car as they do in their full FD car they thought they needed when they first started.
Yep.
And we have to kind of get scope creep next door in the shop side, because people will everyone wants 1,000 horsepower plus Titan Supra, and then you build it and the customer doesn't drive it because they're scared of it. So. Right. It's trying to get people to realize that, okay, if you can spend half the amount and get 95% of the performance, you're probably better off doing that than us just billing you and building this crazy monster that's going to take 3 times as long, and you're never going to use it. We'd much rather see people using the cars than just building them sit in the garage somewhere.
I mean, that's literally drifting as a whole. Everyone's like, oh, I want to build a pro car, and then they realize the consumables for a fun weekend driving with your boys is 10 grand, and they're like, this is bad. I'm like, you could have the exact same fun and achieve 95% of it, like you were saying, for a quarter of the cost.
In 2 days, they make great power, but the ones that make 700-800 horsepower in a street car,
they live.
They live, and they're low cost. And they're low cost, and they're a lot of fun. And literally, once you start going 1,100, 1,200, 1,400, 1,500, they're exponentially faster, but your cost to maintain them and keep up with them is exponentially more as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, obviously there's always a need for that. But, like the one thing we don't want to see is friends of ours where the car doesn't ever get done. They get sick and tired of it, and they sell it. And then they're like, hey, now I bought, like I said, a boat or something else.
Yeah, and they take the L when they sell it.
Yeah, but then, they're out of the game. So, like, for us, we want to see people...
Keep people enticed.
Yeah, keep it in. So, like, even if it's a part that we can... Like the V160 would be an item that, could be in every 2JZ, every swap car out there, RB, if it was affordable, right? So if we could have brought it to the market and had it affordable, it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we've been doing this long
enough. That was the whole thought process, but unfortunately...
Unfortunately it doesn't work that way, and it would be 10 grand for the gearbox anyway, so...
But we've been doing this long enough, we've seen the client growth as well. It's wild that people that were our Honda clients in the early 2000s became
they're Porsche clients.
I mean, truthfully, like our Porsche clients are friends that, we did Honda stuff with in the early 2000s. They got Supras, they got GTRs, they went to Porsches. Some of them are Lambo twin turbo customers now, and
yeah,
some
they grew up,
went
their
backwards.
finances grew up, and their tastes grew up.
Yeah, so we're seeing both sides. We're seeing some that leveled up, and then they, we kind of supported them all the way through. And yeah, they're Porsche guys now, but they still were old school Honda guys, and have been doing it ever since. And then now it's going full circle where you're starting to see some EGs and DC2s, sliding into some of our friends' garages where they want to get that nostalgia back. And,
right. And they're building it out of the same parts they did in the early 2000s.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like the JDM stuff that we had back then now is the stuff that the current generation's coveting. It's like, I mean, it's wild, people don't think about it, but we were one of Spoon's largest distributors in 99, 2000. I mean, we were importing huge amounts of Spoon Sports and supplying the Honda community and supplying other shops.
Yeah.
Just, in that time period, and then, things move on.
Yeah.
We moved on other things, ran out of space, and did other things, but
that's pre-K series.
You
don't even know what that's like, dude.
Yeah,
they were still making the B18 in the car.
No, we were bringing in Spoon.
Yeah,
we were bringing in
2001 or something, right?
We were bringing in Spoon B series engines and transmissions, plus all the parts.
Yeah.
And it was just, hey, we've got this. Oh, you guys want some Spoon parts? And our Japanese contacts, when we did import, would put in a bunch of Spoon stuff, so we'd ship 5-10 engines at a time.
That's perfect. Yep. I remember in high school, which would have been like 04, 05 for me, I had a CRX that we swapped a K series into, and it was like in the very, very beginning, there was like, we just swapped it in, RSX cluster, and like I ran like most of the RSX exhaust and shit, and people were like, what are you doing messing with that engine? That's silly, just put a B series in there. I'm like, it's brand new and it costs the same as a B series back then. Like, I think I paid $1,400
no, I remember
the
transmission then was a big thing. Especially being a Honda guy then, it was like, oh, you got to swap over the entire shift cluster to make it work with everything, and that was the big holdup. But then the mounts are coming out, and there's built shift.
I think I had like Passport mounts or something. Yeah.
And it becomes way easier.
Buy everything, plug and play, like package A, B, C.
I know.
So back then there was no packages. You got to figure it out.
Yep. Yep, that was fun though.
You're like, my friend's done it, he can show me how to do it.
Yep. Well, I just was like looking at RSX one day, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna put this whole setup in a CRX. And it was like 100% stock. It probably made like 160 horsepower or something, but it still went like 1290 or 13.0 in the CRX back then, which was fast.
Actually, I think about it, I mean, the whole all-wheel drive on it, I think back then the CRV was all-wheel drive. So these guys were slipping CRV drive lines into their Civics and CRXs around us just to mess around and have a rear-wheel drive car. And then now the big drag thing is make your front-wheel drive car all-wheel drive using similar stuff or
I've seen the whole subframes that they sell now and everything. But I mean, full circle.
Yeah, that was happening early then too, trying to make the CRV all-wheel drive stuff just get more rear bias out of the cars. So
sweet.
Here's how. Speaking of our Porsche parts,
look at that.
This is how our roll bars are boxed. So we keep.
You guys sell a lot of the roll bars.
We sell a lot of them.
I see them all over the place.
We're running like a little low now, but we try to keep them in stock, so they can deliver quickly.
Yeah.
But they're fully boxed, ready to go. You can install them in your house. Any shop can install them. Available in tons of different colors.
Yeah, it's cool.
Obviously the custom colors are to order, but all the common colors like matte black, gloss black, we try to keep those in stock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. The roll bar thing seems to be a good market.
You'll see us. We build them over there, so you'll see we actually build them in house. Yeah, versus
it's cool.
Having them made somewhere else.
Stuff in stock.
Yep, Moroso. Yep, just trip on anything.
This is actually my neighbor Ryan's car. He had a E92 M3, and I came home in the new Super. We got it, and it was like, "You want to go drag race? I want to get one of these." So we built it up for him, and stock engine. I don't want to say daily drives it, but he drives it a couple days a week, long distance, and the car goes 930s. And when you look at it, other than he's on, ET Street Honors.
Yeah.
So he's getting ready right now for Texas 2K.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah. So now it's in like its drag trim.
Yep. Just ship it out there.
Yeah, we'll ship it.
Make some pulls.
We'll see how many cars actually get finished, but yeah, we'll ship it out there. Hopefully get about 5 cars.
Yeah, Texas 2K is pretty serious nowadays.
Yeah, you should come.
I should.
Then you can learn about drag racing.
I don't have anything fast.
I'm sure we can get you into something.
Okay, maybe we'll go drag racing. We'll see.
Get you an R8, something,
I think it'd be just as fun to see Nero learn to drift.
Yeah, we could do that. That's easy. I got plenty of drift cars. Don't worry about that. Like you with Supras, I got with that.
Nero's never drifted anything.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose. Accidental a few times,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. That's fine. We get you drifting easy. That's funny. I know, now if you go to Texas 2K and you don't run 8s, you're slow, I guess.
Yeah. You want to see the dyno? It's back here.
Yeah, let's see that.
The rig looks rough.
What's up with the rig?
It's got the wrap from 12 years.
Oh, because I think I saw this off of 50. Like,
no, that's my customers.
Oh, I was gonna say.
That's my customers.
Like, why is there a rig there?
That's my customers. He's got all my stuff on it. Everybody thinks it's ours.
Like, damn, Titan's in the hood.
And he's like, mi casa, su casa. He's like, yeah. He's like, if you ever need it, you can use it. Everybody thinks it's fun.
That's funny.
Sometimes just driving down the road, people are like, yo, did somebody steal your rig? And I'm like, nah, go look in the cameras. I'm like, it's right there. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
oh,
makes sense.
The new generation one.
That's perfect. Yeah, might need a new wrap soon. Nope.
Hey.
I got someone who can design it for you. Okay. This guy right here. Oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah, outdoor Dynajet, 424 square.
Yep.
Linked rollers. It's worked really well. Of course, we are going to point out that most of the builds are
getting you mainline now.
Mainline, yeah.
It worked for a long time, but now when you start going 1200 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, the anchors are super deep in the concrete. You can use as many straps as you want, but
yeah.
With some of the stuff we're dealing with, the horsepower is just getting beyond.
You got good use out of that thing, though.
It's getting beyond.
We still use it a lot.
I mean,
it's also nice because it's outside, so all the smog, all the stuff is, you know,
the outside
noise.
Is the move for sure.
Like here, we don't got to worry too much about noise. So
yeah, airport.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I mean, when there's like some of these Daytona 24-hour cars and IMSA cars on here, it's unbelievably loud.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's kind of nice to have
them in like.
Yeah, the new engine comes in. Some of our neighbors over here. There's an IMSA team, and yeah, anytime a new engine comes in, they're just running the engines in. So we get a call last minute.
Yeah,
can we use
so it's nice to have it outside, away from. I mean, you still can hear it all the way to the office, but at least if it's not inside.
No, the outside is the way.
If you're in the office and something really spicy's on it, then you'll know. So you can kind of come and check things out. Be like, oh, what is that? But you know, normal street car, you're not going to hear it too well.
Yeah. I think we tuned my BMW on here one time.
Yeah.
I think it made like 770 or 800.
I think you skimped out on that bill, actually.
Oh, man.
Speaking of.
You know, don't put that out on the internet, man. I don't be skipping out on no bills. Don't worry.
So early on with the A90s, we had to buy complete cars in order to get...
I was going to say.
So we're not a junk car, but we were buying wreck cars just to get driveline cores.
But that's what you do when you get a new car.
Some of them have been... Some of them have become...
What are you going to do?
That was the best, honestly, the best of the worst option, right?
Yeah.
And then we sell a wreck car and they put 4 rotors and So fortunately, we had an outlet for people.
But it's a market. It's a big market because, you know, somebody doesn't want to buy a whole car because then they get stuck with a bunch of stuff. So you guys buy it, get what you need, and sell the unibody.
Yeah, and it works. I mean, literally, we needed engine, trans, and axles. So for you know, somebody that's going to drift this, they're going to put a winter quick change in it, and different drive line, and it's perfect for that.
This is an ad if you need a Mark 5.
We have one left. For a while, we had quite a few.
So when you guys drag race them, what do you do for the rear suspension? Just run pretty high ride height in the back, and that's it, or you got like?
I mean, actually, this car here is on stock shocks.
Okay.
With the ride height raised, we can use it.
The big tire just helps hook it up.
Yeah, they have.
Because in drifting, the rear suspension for forward dig is not that great, but we're limited on tire. So if you don't have a limitation on the tire aspect of it,
shocks will be relatively stock. We'll do like SPL arms. Get rid of the bushings. So we do that, but in terms of shocks, you know, the factory stuff with a height adjustable string works pretty good.
And then you change like any of the mounting points or anything? No anti-squat change, nothing?
Good.
Sweet.
So.
Cool.
Our race engine.
Oh yeah, we should go over this. It's cool. All the injectors.
Yeah.
All 12.
All 12. Crazy. These are standard style ones.
Yeah, these are standard style. So the manifolds will fit either style.
Got it.
So you know, if you want to drift, you know, use the small injectors.
Yep. You know, we only need like 1,200 horsepower, so this is 1,200, this is 1,200, basically. I know, I want to build like a 2,000 horsepower drift car.
We talked about it.
Yeah, I want to.
You know, I mean, we sell a lot of engines to people who are using their drift cars around the world, so for a while we get that question. I mean, we had the discussion a long time ago, and it was like, these live at 100 pounds of boost at 10,000 RPM. Like, yeah, you're more sustained, but with the right oiling and what you're doing to drift, they're making 1,000 horsepower, 1,100 horsepower is not a huge difference.
No, it's not.
The one difference is we don't do VVTi.
Yeah.
Drag racing and the anti-lag that we do is pretty violent on the valve train. So like you look at this.
Yeah, you can't have VVTi on it.
This is the way it is mainly because we've broken most of the timing components and and you know there is a benefit of having VVTi on these, but these are in the power bin the whole
you just
time.
use nitrous instead of VVTi anyway.
Well, these will
That's the key.
So most of these don't use nitrous. You can, like the automatic guys. The automatic guys do, but like we support so many drifters, and you know a lot of the components are almost the same.
Yeah.
You know, at first there was a little bit like, "Are you sure?" We're like, "No, run it." You know, now it's 3.4, which is we've been running the 3.4 for over 20 years.
Yep.
And to put a good dry sump system on it.
Yep.
And the engines live.
Yeah, 9,000 RPM all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for a long time, a lot of drifters didn't want to run the dry sump, you know, and I'm like, you got to run.
Dude, you gotta pay once. That's it. Because otherwise, if you lose one motor, it would have been worth having the dry sump.
Yeah.
100%.
I tell people that shit all the time.
And you know, people don't think about the cost. Drag race or drifting the same. To go to the track and what a test day costs you, you know, paying for track rental, you're paying for flights, you're paying for your crew to get there.
Yeah, it's all essential.
Every day you miss is expensive. So it's like
every day just to sort the car out is costing you. You know, so if it's you're spending less money to get the build, and then you end up like you said going and testing, you could have just you know, and then you've hurt a part or whatever, you're back to it.
You're just digging yourself a hole.
And early on we did. I mean,
but it took a while for people, you know, obviously because we don't drift, we don't have our own drift team.
Yeah.
It took a while for some of the guys to be like,
we tried.
Are you sure? Are you sure this works?
We did
try.
Like,
yeah,
we did try.
This works.
We did try to have a program. When was that? 2013, maybe? 14?
I think we tried twice.
Yeah.
Whatever year that Osmo started in FD is about the time that we.
Yeah, we got beat out by Osmo instead. It could have been us instead. Oh well. Now I just drive Mustangs, you know. But yeah, that's cool. So this is a 3.4. This is
actually a 3.2.
3.2, okay.
So we build the drag motors with the billet blocks for 3.2.
Okay.
The only difference is, you know, your RPM capability. And since we run such high RPM, the 3.2 is just a better combination.
And that's just less stroke, same bore?
Less stroke, same bore.
Okay.
This one has a billet head on it. We experimented with it at the time. Castings really hard to find.
This billet head.
I mean, we did run some engine on this, but now most of the drag cars are going back to stock style head because it's available.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, they're heavily ported.
Have you ran this motor in anything?
This is actually used mainly for show, but yeah, we've run this exact
combo,
yeah.
In the gold car or the orange car?
In the gold car, in the canoe car that went fives, the first one in the fives.
Oh, okay, yeah. Was the billet head too?
It was billet head, billet block. Really, like his program is when he was maxing out where we found like all the end limits of the cast block.
Got it.
We were at one point just literally cracking a part of the front of the block off every couple of runs. It would just break off.
Yeah.
We tried welding it. Like doing every other combination, using a smaller head stoner hole on that side, and the block just couldn't. It just literally at a certain point wouldn't handle it and would just.
You know, you get to like 2,300 horsepower.
We had one
25. I think.
They were splitting horizontally. We split one to where when I got here,
like where the head studs end.
No, the head below in the half in the middle.
Just in the middle.
So the crank was still bolted to the bottom. And then the head gasket was intact fully, and literally we pulled it out of the car, put it on the engine stand, and it was just carnage of.
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
So that's when the billet block really started to come into play.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's more reliable at that much power.
You know, I really didn't think it'd be that big of a leap, but you know, for the time that doing a billet block and starting that development, that made a huge leap in.
Yeah.
And the head, there is some development still left in the head. You know, this is still 2J architecture, even when we did this billet head. Yeah, it was our normal port. You know, there's so many engines.
So it's basically like your guys'
It's exactly that, but it was in a block because the factory heads were getting.
It probably weighs more, too.
It does, and heat soaking, and there's some development stuff that would have to happen, but.
And you have basically no cooling ports,
exactly.
Right?
We cool the heads, we don't cool the blocks on these.
Yeah. No, I was telling you.
So the blocks are solid, we will run water through the head.
Is this Froman too?
Oh, I didn't read that far.
Now we've gone back to doing stock style heads, and then, you know, there's been some talk about doing a billet head again where you could configure each port to exactly what you want. You know, find one good port, raise the ports, do some changes, and then just multiply that by 6, and then you're going to build. Then you're going to build new manifolds, build new exhausts.
So yeah, for a long time, people wouldn't, you know,
it's not a
it's cost.
No, and I know that's happening.
Cost preventative because like, who wants to change intake manifolds and that new header? I mean, they're building pretty much everything new again.
Yeah, it's $20,000
deal.
Yeah, and with drag race we have spares. So I mean, there's if you're going to race, the amount of people that we have that have 2 or 3 of these is pretty common. So then you're asking them to change, you know, their spare for everything.
But now I think it's coming along where you'll start to see people coming out with completely new ports.
Yeah, you're seeing on the RV side, like the RV side, there's new castings and some things coming along online there. And it's only a matter of time.
It's still like, it's just not an RV at that point, which is fine.
And that was always
just an inline 6 race motor.
When we were racing this, it was us. This was still a 2J, and the people that were paying for it had to stay a 2J. So we've kind of just stuck true to that.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, this is other than the billet block, everything in the front bolts onto it. Everything on the back bolts onto it. The head bolts on. All the oiling. So you know, from like what you said, like this is a billet block, but it's literally all
the same. Yeah.
But you're right. Once you go to changing the head.
Yeah, the head design, because then it's not what it is. Yeah. You know, which is fine still.
It's a different beast.
It's an inline 6 race motor to me at that point. That uses Toyota components or something.
What we learned with these,
or bolts to a Toyota block. Yeah.
Right.
What we learned with these is trickled down to some of the other stuff. That if you buy a 3.4 off the street to put in your drift car, some of the technologies from what we learned in this. I mean, the amount of time and energy we split into the 2JZs.
Oh yeah.
I mean, early on we were running tests.
25 years of it, dude.
We were putting them on. We were sending the heads out. We were putting the valve train on Spintrons. I mean, we were doing some high level stuff early on just to find the limits.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, testing. So.
It's cool.
And now it's you're not going to see huge changes. Turbo technology changes more than engine changes.
Yeah, that helps a lot though.
Now we're out of turbo, a new turbo come out, and then there's more power.
100 horsepower.
Yeah, so I mean it's
spools at the same point, makes more power up top.
Our engine technologies, at this level has stayed like this now for.
I mean, just think of like when they designed this and where you're at now in 25 years.
Yep. So since we did this billet block, and
300 horsepower to 3,000 horsepower almost.
Yeah. Beyond that now, I mean it's. You'll see on the wall. We talked about going 9s early on with a car.
Now it's 5s.
And now it's 550s, and it's just it's.
I know, and it's gone from like 650 to 550 in a couple of years too.
That Supra we first ran.
That's why like the biggest thing was when the Canoe Racing Supra was trying to go 5s. It was one of the and it ended up being the first in the 5s.
Yep.
And that whole battle took 2 years, 3 years, to go from 630s to 599.
Yep. And now 550.
Well, we ran. You see the trophies on the wall, but we ran NHRA Sport Compact, and we were running full chassis cars, big turbos, full race engines, and at the time we were going 640s, 220 mile an hour, and that was winning championships.
Yeah.
And now you see the copper car. Now we just kind of quit running it. It was going 620s at 220 mile an hour with drag radials, no wheelie bars, and what you saw was a street
steel body.
So I mean, the technology's
come a long way.
So long.
Yeah, and learned a lot too.
We've learned a lot. So
yeah, sweet. This is a more simple engine here. This is a street car engine.
Yeah, street car engine.
Nice.
VVTi.
T4. VVTi. Yep. Sweet.
This
is what we were talking about with like the 900,000 horsepower range.
Which is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect, and it's like a third of the cost of that.
Correct.
So, maybe a quarter. Yeah.
It's not.
That's cool.
It's wild now because what this costs now compared to what factory cores and things are starting to cost.
Oh
it's pretty ridiculous. Like we first came out the Bella Block, it was expensive, but you get an oil pan, you get hardware.
Yeah, you get a lot.
I think they were about $10,500 at the time.
Yeah.
But factory 2Js were $1,500.
Yeah.
Now you see they go get a long block. They're $5-6 grand at certain times. So.
Yep. You got a lot of trophies there, dude. Those are cool.
There's even more in the
Independence Day.
Yeah, we ran out of room, so those are from
Kansas.
Those are from we ran out of Import Racing took a dive and NHRA backed out of the Sport Compact side, so for a while we didn't want to race, so we just decided to go race domestic guys. So we were running the big Outlaw V8 stuff, and we're in
with
import.
The Supra.
And we ran it with the Supra and with our chassis cars.
I got one of these, dude.
Do you?
Not drag racing one, drifting one. The Xbox trophy. That's funny.
But yeah, we ran domestics for the past probably decade because there hasn't been anywhere really to race for imports, you know.
Yeah.
In drifting, you got Formula D. You know, we had that with NHRA and with Nopi, and then when that went away.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to support your series and make sure your sponsors support the series so you got somewhere to race.
Oh, I know.
And the grassroots stuff is still fun, but it was pretty wild when you go back and you know, think of what Nopi was at the time and how big that show was.
Oh, it was big.
And
People like joke about that now, and I'm like, dude, those events were bigger than any of the events now. They have no idea.
I mean, you were drifting at some, and we're drag racing
Yeah,
some,
like
and there's a huge car
25,000
show.
people.
Yeah, so
Massive car show.
The
Flip-flop
NHRA,
trucks.
and NHRA was kind of the same way. With magazine coverage, TV coverage.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, you got to be thankful that stuff existed when it did, and we were fortunate to participate. But
A lot of Jersey trophies there. E-Town and Echo. Rest in peace.
yep, SummerSlam. There's a lot of time.
There's a couple of tracks on here that are also, you know, just about closed. You know, your Pomona.
Yep.
Moroso.
Oh yeah, Moroso.
Vandermeer's gone. I mean, it's pretty sad when you go through and look at these trophies.
It's bad.
You're right.
E-Town.
Echo's gone.
Echo,
gone.
I know. I just saw the photos of Echo last week. I was
Indy's
like,
still
damn.
there.
I've probably done the most amount of drag racing at Echo. Because when I was living in Jersey, we
Yeah.
would just go for fun on a Friday night and go street race our shit.
Yeah, we would go to Englishtown so often.
Palm Beach.
Yep.
Topeka. I mean, there's
Yeah.
literally this list. It's unfortunate. The list of
It
these
is.
racetracks that we compete at a high level at are now gone. So.
It was an era for sure.
Yeah. We need
cool.
more tracks.
Need more tracks.
Yeah, I mean, there's
At
obviously
least
like,
stop closing the ones that we have down.
yeah.
It's bad news. It's sad. Drifting's doing the same thing. We're fighting to try to find places to go drift now, you know? It's like road courses closing down, neighborhoods expanding. People be like, oh, I moved next to a racetrack. I hate the noise. You.
It's true. It stinks. You know,
Yeah, it sucks.
we've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it, you know, so, I mean, like, you know, and you can't blame all the track owners, right? Like,
No.
they're getting pushed out by their county, by the city,
Yep.
you know, and then at the same
In
time...
creative ways, too, that have, like, big plans, you
Yeah.
know?
And at the same time, you know, somebody's like, you're sitting there, you're getting just beat on for years from the city councils and so forth, but then some Billy Bob comes in and says, hey, I'll give you a crazy amount of money for the dirt.
Yep.
And it's just like, hey, you know, you're done with it.
Right.
You're at
Even if you
retirement
are
age.
operating a track that's profitable and all that, and you enjoy it, when you get some of the numbers, of
Yeah,
it,
development's
you're like,
always
"Holy
more
cow."
profitable than racing.
Or like
so.
Copart coming in and spending all the money because it's, you know, easy for them to set up there, and it's wild. Sad. Some cool parts here. What is this?
The CSX manifold.
Oh, okay. Oh, for the B58.
B58, yeah.
Yeah, copy. So that would be the same manifold basically
Yeah.
that you have on the other car. Yep. That's cool. Titan main. There's some serious main caps, bud. Holy shit. That's wild.
You want to go over 900 on a TJZ, you need to have
Those
them.
are
You want to get the
serious.
crazy sales office, or
I was gonna look at this. Look at this thing.
huh?
So that is original.
I know, in 2002. So it would have been earlier than that, probably.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's right before we
Is that you in there?
So that's a guy by the name of Mark
It looks
Mazurowski.
like you in there.
Mark Mazurowski of Mazworks.
Nasworth.
Oh, I know who that is. Yeah. That's cool.
There's a lot of people in the industries whose lineage can be traced back here.
Been
which is-
around forever,
Yeah.
dude. Woodburn, Oregon. That's the last place I went drag racing. That's funny. That's cool.
That's those street cars. Then we got.
Yeah.
You want to see the conference room?
Let's see.
So there's more trophies. It's a little. Where's the poster? There you go.
There it is. That's OG right there, dude. That's funny. That's cool.
Try finding one of those on eBay. It's not easy.
No?
No.
You're like, bye-bye everyone that comes up.
They're like so hard to find.
They let us reprint them for a while, and then they.
Look, young Nero, dude.
What? I'm still look the same.
You look exactly the same. Your hair's better now. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, some good
Yeah, so like,
mementos in here.
yeah, we have all kinds of trophies all through here. We have a chair. Where'd the chair go? Oh, back
yeah,
here.
back here. The throne.
Yeah.
That
With
was,
the
our,
shoes and everything.
that was our last big
X275.
75 win. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
That's one of the
cool.
biggest races of the year. So to go out and win that one is.
I mean, that's a good example of how big racing is, right? Like, it's $30,000 to win that race.
Yeah.
You know, we have drag racers that are racing for $50,000.
Yeah.
You know, like the pro events just now were $125,000 and $250,000 to win. I mean, these are, I mean, obviously for this much money to be paid out, the sport's huge, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but like you said, we just need tracks.
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
The sport's bigger than like the facilities now that we have because so many have closed. I mean, we lost Houston.
Yeah, Baytown.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we did Texas 2K there for
long time. Yeah.
Now we're going to Dallas.
That was the last time I went there, was at Baytown.
Yeah, now we're going to Dallas.
Yeah.
So,
it's funny when people throw big payouts up, it's amazing how quick the racers come back out and the fans come out to watch. You know, it's,
yeah, they can make their money back.
It's big risk, but yeah, I mean, as a racer, if you see a big payout, it's like, oh, they got 4 events here I'm going to go to now.
Plus, everyone's going to be there too, which makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, so.
And those are when the fastest times get put down too.
So now that you're retired, maybe we'll get you to run a racetrack.
Maybe. I'm really bad at drag racing.
It don't matter.
We
didn't ask you. We didn't ask
you
to
run a racetrack itself. Oh,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah, we didn't ask you. We didn't ask you to race. We just asked you
track. Let's
manage a track.
That's right. Titan X De Novo Raceway. That's it. We'll have a drift track and a
go-kart track.
Gotta have go-karts because you gotta get rentals so you can pay the bills. That'd be cool. I'd be down. What's the last drag strip that was built? Like, are they still building new ones? Z-Max?
There's some that are getting bought and brought back.
That's good. That's exciting.
A lot of those are sometimes like the 8th mile ones that are in smaller areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, big track, probably maybe Z-Max, right?
That's wild.
Z-Max, and then
even that was almost like an expansion of an existing.
Yeah, it was. You're right, because Charlotte.
Same thing, and I think Vegas expanded to 4 lanes.
Yep.
But then
the 4-lane stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah. But like Palm Beach is just sitting there.
Oh, I know. The whole track, everything. Kart track, road course, drag strip.
Yeah.
That was a great drag strip, too.
Yeah.
I used to go to Moroso all the time.
You know, they tried to convert the property, and they got resistance, and so it's almost like out of spite or something, they just shut the track down, and I'm sure they're waiting to try to sell it again at some point.
Yeah, just open it back up. You're losing.
Yeah.
The state could own it and be making money with it.
Yeah. Like,
that's how like Road Atlanta and some of the other tracks are. Like, the state owns it.
They're just waiting until they can help elect the right officials to change decision, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get the official that opens it back up, but that's a tough one.
It's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, for sure. Well, sweet. Hope you guys enjoyed it.